Hello, I'm Kelly. This is a Moran Experience. Welcome back to our channel. As some of you might know, I recently had some medical issues. I discovered that I had a serious blood sugar issue, so I had to go into the ER. Not only once, but twice. The second time I went into the ER, they hooked me up to an EKG and I suffered a major heart attack, which I am grateful to have survived. So that being said, I can't eat the stuff I used to eat. Now, I love corned beef hash, but it's high in carbs, high in sodium. So we're going to do a little canning project today. My wife has canned corned beef hash in the past using potatoes, and it's delicious. But we're going to do a little twist on it, make it a little more carb friendly. We're going to replace the potatoes with radishes. Let's see how it turns out.
Hi everyone, it's Renee here also with the Moran Experience. I figured I would share with you how we ended up making corned beef hash a keto way. So I cleaned and chopped up all of these radishes for Kelly, and then he went ahead and canned everything. I also sanitized and washed all of the jars. We used wide mouth quart jars because I can get my hand in there to clean them. I only use wide mouth jars for anything that has meat in it. So here he is taking the corned beefs that we had in the freezer. I had laid them out to thaw, and now he's going to rinse them off and get them all out of their packaging and get rid of all that goo that's in there. It's just, that goo is gross. I'll also preface this video with I don't like corned beef hash, and I'm also allergic to radishes. So we do this for Kelly because he really enjoys this, and I want to make sure that he has all of the things that he absolutely enjoys. So here he is slicing up the brisket, and corned beef hash is actually just brisket that's all like, I don't know, packaged in this yucky stuff, and you cook it with the seasoning. I do cook it for him, just so you know. I just don't like it. So he's just dicing it all up into bite-sized pieces. And I have canned corned beef hash several times. I usually use potatoes, but now that we're watching his carbs and just making sure that we don't keep him from having things that he loves, we're using radishes a lot more. They definitely have the taste and texture of potatoes when they're cooked, and I have made so many things with them, and he seems to enjoy all of them. I really wish I wasn't allergic. That would be fantastic. So we used 3 briskets here, flats and points. I mean, they're not a whole brisket, but 3 packages of corned beef we used, and he diced it all up nice bite-sized pieces. Now there is a lot of fat in these, which is good for flavor, and because he's doing low carb, you get more satiated when you have the fats. He did have a heart attack, so we are being careful. He doesn't eat this every day, but in moderation, everything is fine. And this just allows him to eat it without having to fill himself with a bunch of insulin. And that's what we're trying to avoid, is using all of the insulin and having high blood sugars. And I just don't want him to feel like he's not getting the things that he wants. I don't want him to feel deprived at all. So I am doing everything in my power to come up with ideas that make sure that he feels satisfied and satiated with the foods that he is eating. Here he diced up this brisket, and he used a combination of a fillet knife, which is his favorite knife, and another knife. He just had a harder time cutting through this because it was completely defrosted. So I think sometimes it's a little easier to cut large pieces of meat like that if they're not quite all the way defrosted and they're still a little bit frozen. Here he's putting all these bite-sized chunks into this large metal bowl. I just wanted to make sure that he had a clean area to work in, and it's always really nice when everything's kind of bowled up. And well, I do the dishes, so it's fine, right? Everything's fine. Here he's putting all of this in here, and there was quite a bit of meat. It was pretty full bowl. And there's all the radishes that I diced up and scrubbed, and cleaned them up. And then there's the pickling spice that you use. Well, it's more than just pickling spice, but that you use to make corned beef. And we're using the wide mouth quart jars, and he is going to fill them with 2/3 of the way with the meat, and it's raw. We're going to raw pack this. He's going to fill it 2/3 of the way with the meat, and then he's going to fill it with the radishes on top. and he's going to make sure that he leaves at least an inch of headspace. He's not packing this down in there and like not cramming it down in there. There's spaces between the meat. And there's no liquid because it will cook the meat in the pressure canner and it will make its own juices. And now he is distributing those packets. There was 3 of them because there was 3 briskets. He's distributing them amongst the jars. He got 8 quarts. We had a bunch of radishes left over, which I have since used in other recipes. And now he's cleaning the rim of the jars. He already did it once, and I cut that out of the video. But he's cleaning the rims of the jars here with a paper towel that has some vinegar on it, and making sure that it is sealed. And he's using my favorite canning lids, which are the 4 jars lids, and sealing them finger tight with a ring. And there are his 8 beautiful jars. And then he put them in my Presto pressure canner. I love this canner. You can fit 5 in here, but because he got 8 jars, we ran it twice with 4 jars each time. This is the first time he's ever used it, so I did walk him through the process. So first you put the jars in, and then you seal it all up, and it's really easy to use. And you walk through the process. It has you push buttons when it's ready, all of that stuff, and then you can either switch this regulator to vent, or you can take it off. The manual says you can take it off, but you can just switch it. And then to select each of the options, you can either push the arrow or like play button, or you can push in on the selector. Once it has come all the way to time and has depressurized, which meat is 90 minutes in the pressure canner, he took the lid off and then took the first set of jars out. And they are beautiful. They turned out really good. He loves corned beef hash, and this made him so happy that we were doing this on this day. So he did 4 jars the first time, and then I did run the second set of 4 jars through, and then they did sit in the canner overnight, depressurized and everything, and I pulled them out in the morning. They were perfect. They were so good.
So we ended up getting 8 beautiful jars of yumminess out of what we canned. But I guess we can't really call it a success until we try it, hey? So I got a pan heating up right now. I guess we're going to try this. Let's see how it turned out. All right, well, let the yumminess begin. We're going to cook this down. What I like to do is cook this down till the liquid completely evaporates, because then it will caramelize and give you a more richer flavor. We're going to let that on high heat for a while, and we'll be back in a minute to see how it's coming along. Yeah, a couple minutes later, it looks like it's starting to come around. We're going to let a little more of this liquid come off. Pretty soon it'll be time to eat. Well, I think we're about done there. Nice caramelization. Sticking a little, but now look at how just beautiful that is. Man, can't wait to try that. Let's check it out. So now we got the true test. The tasting. Wow. Can't really even tell that it's not potatoes. I think I'm going to continue to do it this way. It's very good. So if you'll excuse me, I have a date with a plate. So I guess that's that. It tasted great, texture was on point, and I got 7 more jars to enjoy in the future. I think we're going to call this a success. Anyway, if any of you have any other low-carb ideas that we might be able to try here on the Moran Experience, please let us know down in the comments. We'd appreciate if you'd like and subscribe. Come back to see what we experience next.